Another day, another story. John Wesley Powell was an American geologist, soldier, and explorer best known for leading the first successful expedition down the Green and Colorado rivers through the Grand Canyon. Here's an overview of his life and achievements. Welcome to Thibault Eminent Channel. Early life. John Wesley Powell was born on March 24, 1834, in Mount Morris, New York. His family had a strong interest in education, and Powell developed a passion for natural sciences, especially geology, at an early age. Despite losing his right arm in a Civil War battle at Shiloh in 1862, he continued his pursuit of knowledge. Exploration of the Colorado River. Powell's most famous expedition took place in 1869 when he led a group of 9 men on a daring journey down the Green and Colorado rivers. The expedition, known as the Powell Geographic Expedition, aimed to explore the last uncharted region of the United States, the canyons of the Green and Colorado rivers. The journey was perilous, and the team faced numerous challenges, including treacherous rapids, limited supplies, and the unknown nature of the terrain. Powell's leadership skills and scientific curiosity played crucial roles in the success of the expedition. Despite losing one of the boats and facing near starvation at times, the team managed to complete the journey through the Grand Canyon. Scientific contributions. Powell's exploration of the Colorado River provided valuable scientific data about the geology, geography, and natural history of the region. He produced detailed maps and reports that contributed significantly to the understanding of the American West. Powell advocated for the arid West to be settled based on its ecological and hydrological characteristics, rather than following traditional agricultural practices. The Powell Survey. After the expedition, Powell continued his scientific work. In 1871, he became the second director of the U.S. Geological Survey, USGS, where he initiated a comprehensive program of topographic mapping and geological surveys known as the Powell Survey. This laid the foundation for future geological and hydrological research in the United States. Later years. Despite his significant contributions to science, Powell faced controversy and opposition. His ideas about the settlement and development of the arid West were not universally accepted, and he clashed with politicians and land developers. Powell continued his academic and scientific work, publishing numerous reports and books. John Wesley Powell died on September 23, 1902, but his legacy lived on. His pioneering work laid the groundwork for the scientific understanding of the American West and influenced future conservation and resource management policies. Powell's exploration and advocacy for sustainable land use marked him as a key figure in the history of American science and exploration. Education and early career. Powell attended Illinois College and later enrolled in Oberlin College, where he studied natural sciences. He had a particular interest in geology and ethnology. Powell's interest in Native American cultures would later influence his views on settlement and resource use in the American West. During the Civil War, Powell enlisted in the Union Army. His right arm was amputated after being wounded at the Battle of Shiloh. Despite his disability, Powell continued to serve in the Army and even participated in further military campaigns. Post-expedition period. Following the success of the Colorado River expedition, Powell continued to explore and study the western United States. In 1872, he published a comprehensive report titled Exploration of the Colorado River of the West and its Tributaries, which detailed the scientific findings and observations from the journey. This report became a seminal work in American geography and geology. Powell's survey work extended beyond the Grand Canyon. He explored the Plateau Province, the Rocky Mountains, and the Great Basin, contributing significantly to the understanding of the geological and hydrological features of the region. Legacy and influence. Powell's ideas about land settlement and resource management were far ahead of his time. He proposed a systematic approach to water resource management based on watershed boundaries, emphasizing the aridity of the West and the need for sustainable practices. Powell's vision included the establishment of land use planning agencies, a precursor to modern conservation and land management organizations. Despite his visionary ideas, Powell faced opposition from vested interests, particularly those who favored traditional agricultural practices in the West. His disagreements with influential figures and politicians led to conflicts, and Powell left the USGS in 1894. Later endeavors. After leaving the USGS, Powell continued his work in academia and public service. He served as the director of the Bureau of Ethnology at the Smithsonian Institution, focusing on the study of Native American cultures. Powell's influence extended beyond science. He was actively involved in the early conservation movement. He advocated for the establishment of forest reserves and the rational use of natural resources. Powell's ideas laid the groundwork for the eventual creation of the U.S. Forest Service and the National Park Service. Post-Geological Survey years. After leaving the U.S. Geological Survey, Powell remained active in scientific and public affairs. He continued to write and speak about his ideas on land use and water management. Powell was a proponent of what he called irrigable land, emphasizing the importance of matching land use with the available water supply in arid regions. In 1890, Powell published a landmark work titled The Evolution of the Country Life, in which he discussed the challenges and opportunities of rural life in America. He argued for a scientific approach to agriculture and rural development, advocating for education and technological innovation in farming practices. Political engagement. Powell's ideas were not always well received, and he faced opposition from those with different views on Western development. Despite his struggles, Powell's influence reached the highest levels of government. He served as a land use advisor to several presidents, including Benjamin Harrison and Theodore Roosevelt. Powell's vision of a rational, scientific approach to land management began to gain traction in the early 20th century. His advocacy for conservation and sustainable resource use aligned with the growing environmental movement in the United States. Later years and death. In the final years of his life, Powell continued to work on scientific and policy issues. He was involved in various organizations, including the National Geographic Society, and he remained committed to the advancement of knowledge. John Wesley Powell passed away on September 23, 1902, at the age of 68. His contributions to science, exploration, and conservation left a lasting impact on the understanding of the American West and influenced policies that shaped the nation's approach to land and water management. Legacy. Powell's legacy is multifaceted. His scientific contributions, particularly the exploration of the Colorado River, established him as a pioneering figure in American geography and geology. His vision for sustainable land use and water management laid the groundwork for future conservation policies. The Powellian vision of land planning based on watersheds and ecosystems became increasingly relevant as environmental challenges grew. Many of his ideas, once considered radical, have gained acceptance over time, and Powell is now recognized as a prescient thinker whose insights continue to shape discussions on resource management, conservation, and the sustainable development of arid regions. In recognition of his contributions, Powell's name graces various geographical features, including the Powell Plateau in the Grand Canyon and Powell Lake in Utah. His spirit of scientific inquiry and advocacy for responsible stewardship of natural resources endure in the ongoing efforts to balance human needs with environmental sustainability. Personal life. Beyond his professional endeavors, Powell had a rich personal life. He married Emma Dean in 1861, and they had a family together. Despite the challenges of his military service and later expeditions, Powell maintained a strong connection with his family. Emma played a supportive role in Powell's work, and their marriage endured until her death in 1920. The Powell family's contributions. The Powell family's involvement in science extended beyond John Wesley Powell himself. His sister, Ellen Powell Thompson, was an accomplished geologist and one of the first American women to earn a Ph.D. in the sciences. She made significant contributions to paleontology and stratigraphy. Institutional contributions. Powell's influence was not confined to his own research. As the second director of the U.S. Geological Survey, he shaped the institution and laid the groundwork for future geological research in the United States. Powell was instrumental in fostering a culture of collaboration and scientific rigor within the USGS. Ethnological interests. Powell's interests were not limited to geology. His experiences with Native American cultures during his explorations influenced his later work in ethnology. Powell was an early advocate for the fair treatment and understanding of Native American tribes. He recognized the importance of preserving and documenting their languages, customs, and traditions. Educational legacy. Powell's commitment to education was evident throughout his life. He served as a professor at Illinois Wesleyan University, and the Illinois State Normal University. His emphasis on education extended to his roles in various scientific organizations, where he promoted the dissemination of knowledge and the training of future scientists. Continued impact. The ideas and principles advocated by Powell continued to gain traction in the decades following his death. His vision for sustainable resource use and conservation became increasingly relevant as environmental concerns became more prominent in the 20th century. Powell's legacy is not only visible in geographical landmarks and institutions but also in the ongoing efforts to balance economic development with environmental preservation. The principles he espoused regarding water management, land planning, and the integration of scientific knowledge into policy decisions remain foundational to contemporary discussions on sustainability and conservation. Recognition and commemoration. John Wesley Powell's contributions to American science and exploration have been widely recognized. His legacy is honored through various commemorations, including the John Wesley Powell Center for Analysis and Synthesis, established to facilitate collaborative research on complex scientific issues. In conclusion, John Wesley Powell's life was marked by a multifaceted legacy that encompassed family, education, exploration, and visionary ideas about the responsible use of natural resources. His impact continues to be felt in scientific, environmental, and educational spheres, shaping the way we understand and interact with the natural world. Conclusion. John Wesley Powell's life was marked by a relentless pursuit of knowledge, scientific exploration, and a visionary approach to land and water management. His legacy continues to influence environmental science, conservation policies, and the understanding of the American West. Powell's contributions remain integral to discussions on sustainable development and the delicate balance between human activity and the preservation of natural ecosystems. Thanks for watching. Request you to subscribe the channel.